transformation. There's a lot of talk about that, but in fact, it is our reality. Change, in fact, I would suggest, is our new normal. Opportunities for growth? Well, my opinion, it's combining what we already have done really well for years with the traditional business models together with the emerging business models we're here to talk about today.
We could have let the financial distress that we've been experiencing stagnate growth and change and really put a pause in digital transformation.
Stephanie, did we do that?
Instead, no, Deborah, we did not. You can count on us. Instead, actually, what we saw is an acceleration in terms of accelerating the pace of change that's going on.
In fact, that's what inspired our theme this year, Unlocking Digital Growth, a case for change.
We've had 140,000 years of practice communicating one-to-one, and we are awesome at it. For 3,500 years, the conventions of one-to-many communication have evolved in our culture and our society, and I would argue that we're also expert at it. Absolutely expert at it. And I would also argue that the television business, specifically the advertising business, is particularly awesome at it because a 30-second spot has a beginning, middle, ending, and it has a rising action, climax, and a falling action, and in 30 seconds, you can make people buy stuff they don't want with money they don't have. It's awesome. We understand broadcasting, and we understand one-to-one. 36 months ago, 2 new forms of communication hit our world, and they hit like a ton of bricks. One of them is many-to-one communication. The extension of many-to-one is a concept called many-to-many. Some of you call it viral. There's all kinds of names for it, but ultimately what happens is you have no physiology whatsoever to deal with that. Under any circumstances, you must have a tool set to deal with many-to-many communication and monitor it.
It's the listening part that I think we need to pay more attention to versus the media and social media. We're trying to reframe it really as social marketing because so much of the conversation has been about why would you advertise in Facebook and do I need a brand page and what's the value of that and how might I translate that into GRP. The first step is the letting go of control. It's not starting from the what's our message, what's our content, how do we get it out there, how do we seed it, but how do we listen first, understand what the need is, and then create the content or be part of that conversation that's already happening around brands. But when you take that, we've got a controlled message, we're going to broadcast it.
There is no such thing as social media. There's Facebook, and there are a million things inside of Facebook because 500 million entities make it a lot of different things. It's not one thing. It's not homogeneous. You can't think of it homogenously. 2 words you need to have in your head when you think social media right now are speed and scale because they're unprecedented in our history. You need to understand social media. You personally can do it because you've actually been talking to people your whole life, so you're social animals. There is nothing about this technology that is in any way technological. It is 100% you. It's you looking in the mirror. It's other people looking at you. Your online presence has to match your offline presence, and you need to come to grips with the fact that if you got dressed to come to this room, what did you look like on Google this morning?
The message that we put out, all of us, no matter what we do, is still key. As a company, as an individual, I still have to spend all of my time crafting the perfect message and then releasing it because if I don't craft it well, it can take a left turn on me too quickly.
Through social media, you can reach out directly to them, either in front of the crowd or away from the crowd and say, hey, I hear you, number one, you're important, I hear you, gives them a sense of recognition. And then number 2, actually try and solve their problem.
Can we start with the definition of what branded entertainment is?
Yeah, I think just as with the birth of television and initially with radio, the drivers of who's going to finance content are not always going to be the people who create the technology or the distribution. And what we're seeing is a need to engage with people who are the real stakeholders, both the consumer and the advertiser, in delivering storytelling and engaging content that can help deliver either brand story or help drive a consumer audience to another place where they could directly engage with an advertiser. So we're looking to create earlier opportunities, and something we find when we do engage and work closely with an advertiser is they really invest and partner with you, not only in wanting to help support a show from a financial level, but also in working with you to make it successful from a marketing level or from a shared intellectual property level. And now as we see brands wanting to create campaigns that can also be efficiently global, which is a relatively new phenomenon. We see all of the deals we're doing have incremental spends, so that they're actually, we're coming in with two things. We're coming with a great idea because they need ratings and great shows, but we're also coming in with additional revenue to them. And we're not trying to, because we have a sophistication of having brought in different elements of the conversation into our own company, the ability to recognize exactly what the networks need and not try and end run them, just trying to open up the system and embed the conversation earlier in the process.